a sunny day, a glorious sunny day. Anyway, enough of that shit. Just shut that. Hello, and welcome to the 11th episode of Me Time.
I'm losing track of count. I'm losing track of
Wow. Yeah, so classic, again, Doctor Who fashion. Technically, this is episode 12. The 11th Doctor was technically the 12th Doctor, but we kind of accept it, you know. So, yeah, it's episode 11. And this is the start of our fourth agenda, as announced last week in episode 10.
Very cool.
Yeah, I was happy. I was happy with the way that. So, the thing is, if you're an Attack on Titan fan and you've seen the whole show, you're going to understand that. But if you're not an Attack on Titan fan, you're probably going to go, what in the hell? What's that? So, just a few things before we get going with this agenda.
Mm-hmm.
On the top of the list, we'll talk about Attack on Titan. There will be major spoilers for the show.
Yeah.
We're talking about this. This episode is us breaking down the entire story from start to finish. So if you want to watch Attack on Titan without spoilers, I suggest you stop watching this and go watch it and then come back to this when you're done. You agree? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would give that for me personally, a 5-star rating, MJ Media approved, Attack on Titan, certified fresh, you know, give it a watch. I promise you, even if you're not necessarily an anime fan, it's still worth watching.
Yeah, prepare yourself though.
Oh, it's dark. We're gonna get into that. It's a very, very dark show, and the twists and turns in it, you're not gonna see coming. Believe me. And I love it. I love it when I'm wrong. I do. When narrative, if I point something out and say that's gonna happen, and it happens, I'm like, oh, that's boring. With Attack on Titan, I remember at the start, I was like, well, this could happen.
Yeah.
And then series 2 comes along. I was just like, oh, well, fuck me, I guess.
Yeah. I know. And then the other user was like, what the hell?
Yeah. So spoiler warning. We warned you. Cool. Second thing, this is our fourth agenda, and it will be our last agenda before we have a mid-season break. We've discussed this. We discussed this before the episode started. So we'll go into full details of what will happen during the break at the end of the agenda. But to give you guys a little bit of a snippet of that information, we're going to have a month break after the 13th episode airs. So for 4 weeks, there won't be new episodes. And then we will recommence with episode 14 sometime in June. Upgrades, people. Upgrades! Nice reference. But don't worry, you'll see. I mean, I think a couple of you kind of putting it together, what's going to happen during our time away. Speculate, but you will not be without content. Wink.
Some good stuff coming.
I think other than that, I don't think there's anything else to really discuss.
I don't think so.
No, I think we should we'll dive into it, shall we?
Into the meeting.
Cool. So the admin is over. Let's get into it. So today's title is why or how does Attack on Titan effectively use long-term narrative or a longer story to affect, to hook people, still keep people hooked from start to finish. Because let's face it, there's a lot of stories out there that are ridiculously long, and people just get bored of it. One Piece. No, I'm kidding. Matthew hates One Piece. You should watch the show. I'm not going to watch the show. I'm not. I can appreciate One Piece is absolutely fantastic. Like the reveal of Luffy, who Luffy is, what his power is, and what he's trying to do. It seems like it's a fun show. It's just not for me. And I'll be honest, I'm really not prepared to watch over 1,000 episodes of a show. I'm not going to do it. Over 1,000, still going now. The manga is also still going, and the mangaka is just like, oh, I anticipate that this saga is going to be the last saga and it will be done in the next, 10 years. What?
Yeah.
What? One Piece is finally ending.
Yeah.
How do we start talking about one? Anyway, never mind. That doesn't matter. Yeah. There's a lot of stories that just keep going and going and going. And let's face it, it kills a lot of the hype, I think.
I think what gives Attack on Titan this sort of edge is the sort of the twists it gives you. It gives you 3 seasons. So you kind of, as you sort of said, as you were kind of alluding to earlier, you'd watch an episode, you watch a series, and you kind of think, oh, I kind of know where the narrative is going.
Yes.
And then something just comes out of you, they're going, oh crap, that's not what I thought was in the go at all.
So in media studies, I'm going to pull out some technical terms here.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
No.
I think so. The proeretic codes. If I'm saying this wrong, then I apologise. There's the proeretics and the hermeneutics. So the proeretics is the content on screen that you know, that you've established. So we know that Eren Yeager is the main character and his home was attacked by Titans. His mum was unalived by Titans, consumed by Titans. In episode fucking 1, that's all that happens.
I mean, even that episode. I mean, we watched series recently. It is just whiplash there, and they go, oh, it's all all kind of your sound a sort of joyful sort of tone, and all of a sudden it comes out of nowhere, it's well, straight into it's oh, okay, this is what we're doing now.
So that's something we know. We also know another proeretic is Eren's motivation to destroy the Titans and avenge his mother's death. So we know that they're necessary for us to understand what sort of story we're going to watch, who we are rooting for, and ultimately what we want to accomplish. We want to see how is Eren going to defeat the Titans. That then comes to the hermeneutics. Hermeneutics are the stuff that we don't know. So the things that we want to find out. And I believe a simplified version of that name is the Enigma codes. So the mystery of the narrative. So how is Eren going to defeat the Titans? Ultimately, at the start, why is there a colossal Titan? Why is there an armoured Titan? Why is there suddenly a female Titan? Why are there Titans in the walls? Why is Eren's dad teasing a mystery with a key? What's in the cellar? What else? Why does Mikasa have stupid strength? Something like that. You know,
it's sort of stories woven into other stories sort of thing. So you've got various different stories going on, even on the main narrative as well.
What I also have a problem with other narratives is they tease something at the start of a series. I'll say this, I will. The recent Doctor Who series with Ncuti Gatwa, you won't mind me spoiling this. Also spoilers for the new series of Ncuti Gatwa. He's a terrific guy, really represents the Doctor well, but I had problems with the story again. So at the start of the series, we're established he's the new Doctor. He's got a new companion, and there's a mystery around the companion. So there's an enigma around Ruby Sunday. We don't know who her mother is. She's an orphan. For some reason, the Doctor can't find her mother. Ruby can't find her mother. And the more that she travels with the Doctor, the more things start to change, literally, in the universe around her. There's a mysterious melody trapped within her that, an eldritch music god didn't understand and said, that's wrong. That's fundamentally wrong. It breaks all known laws of, I don't understand her. She's a mystery. Snow starts to fall around her no matter where she is when her life seems to be in danger as well. And everything is hyping up, who is she? We really don't know who she is. So it's building up, it's suspense. You want to know who she is. And you want the Doctor to ultimately find that out. And they put it in your face on every episode. There's always a tease. Long-term narrative, keep the audience hooked. Eventually, you've got to reveal that information. Which we will definitely get to attack on.
That's also the time of Charlotte as well. It's it is the time of Charlotte. Also, when we reveal it, it's okay. What does the point of pretending there? You
touched a nerve there. Timeless child. Who's the timeless child?
No one
it's
knows.
you.
Oh,
No, it's not. It's not. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah.
That means that we got our powers of regeneration from you millions of years ago. So the Doctor's not 2,000 years old. All of the Doctors that we've known till now, like the first Doctor, 13th Doctor, could be Doctor number 500 for all we know.
They even break their own law just by introducing it. It's like, it's all well and good having an introducing something exciting, but if it doesn't make sense to you, they go, why?
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of issues with the new Doctors. It's more sort of, I want to push this thing and then forget about the story. It's like, no, the story comes first before any other thing that goes on. So,
but that's just it, isn't it? Yeah.
I think that's where Attack on Titan kind of has the edge, where like the story is mainly what you're focused on. Like there is a sort of there is other stories involved that we kind of get hints towards, and they are paid off, but they are very sure on where they're going.
Yeah, of course. So I'll stop digressing with other examples, and I'll dive deep into Attack on Titan because, as you said, it doesn't forget about what the audience needs to know, and it has a vision from start to finish from episode 1. There are many, many stories that are written on the fly. Like, take soap operas, for example. They're written like episode. They don't have an end vision because it's ongoing. The Attack on Titan, the mangaka always knew where the story was going to end and what details needed to get there. We'll finish the thing with Doctor Who. Basically, it was revealed that there was no mystery around her. There was a god of death that got revealed in a very cool way, actually. And the whole reason why things were happening weird in the universe is because the god thought that she was important, when in actual fact, she wasn't. Her mum was literally hidden on the other side of the planet.
Okay. Yay. Okay.
There was no mystery. She was normal all along. I can't do what I'm going to do because that would look bad on YouTube. I was gonna do I'm gonna cut this bit out. I was gonna do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Inappropriate joke for YouTube. Don't worry, it's nothing terrible. Okay, so Attack on Titan. Again, Eren is established as the main character, and we're rooting for him. He's the hero, and all of these mysteries we want him to solve, and ultimately every other character to solve as well. But how they reveal it isn't episodic. It isn't series related. We get to the milestone when the author deems it worthy.
Yeah.
There's so many subtle hints of with the soldiers, with Reiner, with Berthold, with Annie, we just assume that they're citizens of this other kingdom within the other wall that ultimately also want to join the war. But then they keep on saying, when we're done, we're going to go home. We're going to go home as champions. Reiner was always deemed a warrior. We're all going to go home together. Like, what are you talking about? Home is behind the wall. Why do I feel like you guys are going somewhere else?
Yeah.
But it's never on the nose. It's never just like Reiner secretly, maliciously doing something behind the back. You genuinely root for them the whole time.
You kind of have to figure out for yourself. It's sort of like, it's not explicitly told. I mean, to a degree you also won't. It's sort of that sort of what they mean sort of thing. But then also, from what I can work out from the author and manga, is like Eren has to hit a certain point of development before a new law drop is revealed sort of thing.
It's a very good way of putting it. Character milestones in a way.
Yeah, like we're introduced to Eren sort of pretty, standard sort of naive kid, I guess.
He's a rookie. He's Eren's lame as a kid.
Yeah. And then, his mother's death kind of like motivates him, or supposedly motivates him to sort of join the scout unit.
Mm-hmm.
And then within that development of the scout unit, he sort of develops into sort of your sort of soldier, or like your bloke sort of thing. But then once he hits that sort of maturity to sort of handle the information that's then revealed to him about Annie, is then your next arc begins where between sort of Annie and sort of.
I'd liken it also to story development, which is what I like. So for me, as an author, it doesn't necessarily have to be the world revolves around the character.
No.
It's the character interacting with the world itself. So when you reach a certain part of the world, the story doesn't necessarily have to change, but it slowly starts to open up and broaden. And when it opens up, there's more pathways, more things could happen to the character, and that gives them scope for development. So, for example, first half of Series 1, we view it as humans versus Titans. That's all we see it as. So we see them train and train and train and train because the Titan invasion is going to happen. The Titan invasion does happen. The Titans wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, which is not what you expect.
We're not. We don't expect it. We think this whole series is going to be them fighting and training to get them back. That's what we're used to. You know, it's established at the start. Humans versus Titans. Titans have been around. They've been terrorizing us, and we're helpless against them. And we need a new hope. And we need because we're useless against them. We're introduced to Levi as well. Goat. And he's inhumanly strong. Inhuman, basically. He's like ridiculously strong. So we think he's going to be the one to take down the Titans. But then he's on a separate quest away from the invasion, and we think, oh my gosh, we don't even have him.
Yeah.
So when all of the characters start unaliving, and it's still not necessarily even halfway through the series, we're honestly now like, what on earth do we do? Bang. Something changes. And it's not necessarily with the character, because Eren himself doesn't know what has changed in him. But the world has opened up. Now we know it is established that a human can have the power to become a Titan. When Eren comes onto the scene, we don't even know what that Titan is. A Titan beating up another Titan is like unheard of.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. It really doesn't. And when it's revealed after the Titan falls to the ground and Eren unconscious falls out of the corpse of the Titan, we're like... And then the world opens up. New possibilities. Several humans that we know could be Titans. We also know that somewhere out there are going to be other Titan shifters as well. Yeah. It completely changes the game. And you think, okay, so what next? Are we going to see some other Titan shifters? Are there going to be other powers?
Yeah.
Are we going to other places as well? This changes the level of intensity of this war that is going on. Maybe humanity stands a chance now as well.
It's kind of weird. So you're defeating the first season, but also giving that sort of hope as well. Like, oh, we're defeating the season. Oh, that's changed now. What's going on next, sort of thing. Yeah.
But there's always something to aim for as well. That's the thing. You've got, so even when they take back they fight back against the Titans, you know there's a clear motive next. You think, okay, Eren now needs to come to terms with this power and control his power so that we can retake back Walmaria.
Yeah, even that narrative by itself was interesting, because Eren was there going, I don't know how it works.
Well, he doesn't, no. He turns into a Titan on the whim. He doesn't know how he does it.
He
does figure it out.
He figures it out. But like, he doesn't know how it works yet. All the scout regiment are there going, you've got to figure it out. And he's like, I don't know. Like, and that storyline between Harry figures it out is also pretty dark. They're like,
that's just
I have to hurt myself to get into this state. I mean, that eventually does change, but a lot of it is like, it's not working. They just like bind his hand and sort of like.
And again, we're given this false sense. What I like about this,
and it's desperation as well. Like.
It's so genius. Towards the end of the series, like series 4, we discover the concept of the paths. The Attack Titan's true power is looking at different strands of timelines, different possibilities, and being able to predict. Hence why he's called the Attack Titan, because he can predict what is going to happen and to attack in the way that he wants to. You know, it's. If you think about it, that's a commentary on the series as well. There's so many different pathways there's so many different possibilities as we, as the audience, try to anticipate what's going to happen. So we could think that Eren's going to master this power. We still, a different pathway also, is he going to master the power and we're going to find out who the Colossal Titan and the Armored Titan are, or what that is. The Armored Titan, the Colossal Titan comes back, but the Armored Titan does not come back for the whole of Series 1. And then it goes another way. We're introduced to a brand new Titan.
Yeah.
We're introduced to the female Titan. Like, okay, she's different. First of all, that's like, she's running, she seems like conscious. Like, it's very clear that she is a Titan shifter. Who is she? Because that will mean someone within this world that we're currently in is going to be that one. And then it's revealed at the end of the series as Annie, which was, for me, I kind of saw that coming a little bit.
I don't know, I did, because Annie was definitely a fighter, but she was also sort of pretty quiet in the back.
But she was very quiet.
And then it's like, and then she's suddenly like in the spotlight. They go, oh, damn. Yeah.
But yeah, that's, again, this full sense of security, just like these characters in the background, the ones that you think aren't important, are important. So then, I'm led down this false pathway, and I think, okay, maybe other quiet characters could be Titans as well. Who is a quiet character? That what was her name before we found out she was called Historia? I can't even remember. See this is how irrelevant she is to the story. I can't even remember. So yeah, she's an irrelevant character. We find out that she's like the descendant of the kings and the queens. She is the true queen.
Oh yeah.
So I thought because she's really, really quiet, maybe she doesn't know her powers as well. There could be scope because Mikasa had inhuman strength.
Yeah.
I thought that her and Levi were secretly Titans and they hadn't unlocked their powers yet. So I'm thinking that's going to happen soon. Series 2 comes along and the Beast Titan comes along.
Yeah.
And you think it might be a relative of one of the characters. It could be Irvin's dad. It could you're speculating about these things.
Beast Titan's interestingly comes along because he's a completely like we've seen Annie who's sort of aware, and sort of, but she's aware and sort of runs around and sort of tries to create as much damage as she can, sort of thing. It's sort of like a shock troop to a degree.
Yeah.
Difference with Beast Titan when he comes along is like. And sort of Scout Unit kind of realises it's like the Beast has got strategy. He doesn't just go in to create damage. Yeah.
So that changes the game. A threat that has been established that we then don't see. Well, we do see a little bit for the rest of Series 2.
Yeah.
But he's not a threat.
Yeah.
He's not there. He just appears in the background. All of these things, and then there's still this overarching mystery. What's in the cellar? We still don't know what's in the cellar. Who is this Beast Titan? Who is the Armored Titan? Who's the Colossal Titan? Like, are they going to take back the wall? So you just get all of these things, and then bam, Ymir becomes a Titan. Yeah. That I didn't see coming. I did not see that coming at all because I thought she was just your brash, loud and proud girl. Who's going to ultimately make a sacrifice. Ultimately, she technically does. Yeah. And then she becomes a Titan. And then we're thrown off completely when we think, like, where are all of the Titans gone? Why is this gone so easy?
Yep.
And then Reiner and Berthold reveal that our home, where we're from, is not even in this country.
Yeah.
This home wasn't in the walls. We're from a completely different country altogether, long ago, and then they start going into like long ago. The war between humanity and Titans has gone on so much longer than you think. It has gone on like a really, really long time, and we are saviors of our hometown. We have powers of the Titans, and we're coming to save them. Oh yeah, we're the Armored Titan, Colossal Titan, by the way, and. I was sitting there I remember my reaction is just like, it wasn't even a grand reveal. It wasn't. It was just a normal conversation that they had. They're just like, I'm the Armored Titan, he's the Colossal Titan. It was no like music change. The episode still had like 10 minutes left. I was like, that. My mind has blown up. 2 characters that you've learned to trust and have actively been fighting the Titans this whole time have secretly been villains. And it blew my mind. That was when the game fucking changed.
But then when they reveal that, it also makes you have a look at the first episode again. Because like Reiner or the Iron Titan is sort of shown to be in the first episode. It's like, oh crap! So he was there, and yeah.
And that's another thing that I want to say is the beauty of a long story. When you keep secrets for long enough that aren't obvious, like for example, there's just like, I don't know, a Pokemon game or something like that. You're introduced to a character at the start who's got a hood on, and he's like, you don't need to know my name, I'm just walking around. I wonder who that character is. And at the end of the game, the hood's off. 'Twas I all along. I was the villain. I've been looking at you since the start. Okay. Good for you.
Yeah.
There's plenty of that sort of thing. But when it's not obvious, you go back. Like you said, you go back to the start of the story and you rewatch it. A long-term narrative, like Attack on Titan, is effective because there are hidden hermeneutics or enigma codes throughout the narrative that if you know that they're there, you understand the true story, the true power of this narrative. But if you don't, you're compelled to go back and see where you made the mistakes. And it's a completely different story. It's not one story. It's, at that point, it's 2. The one where you believe Reiner and Berthold are good guys, and then when you go back, Reiner and Berthold were villains all along. So let's see their plan unfold over Series 1 and Series 2. It was mad. It made me want to go back and see just like, oh, I was an absolute fucking idiot. It's so obvious. Look at them there. Reiner's tweaking out.
But all the dialogue's so subtle, like you don't recognise it until you rewatch it. Like, oh, hang on, I now understand what you're saying now.
When Reiner and Ymir start looking at one another, like when there's a language they both understand, and Reiner's like, "How do you know that? How do you know that language?" She goes, "I don't know. How do you know that language?" And that both they're just like, all right, shut up. And just like, we're in the audience like, what's happening? What language? It's the language of their hometown? What is their hometown? And then you find out it's the language of the Titans. You're like, oh my God. Oh. You're like, oh, how stupid was I? Honestly. Oh dear. And then does this trend continue? Oh boy, does this trend continue. Then we know, then Reiner and Berthold take on the mantle of antagonists and villains. And it continues into Series 3, where it's then humans become villains. You realise it's less of a war between, it's starting to become less of a war between humans and Titans. It then became a war between humans, Titans, Titan shifters, and Titan shifters. And then it became a war between humans and humans. And Titans weren't even relevant in that story. And you learn about the backstory of the Titans. And then you're thrown into another war. Where you find out who the Beast Titan is as well. And then...
Well, the Titans almost become weapons. Almost become like a narrative of weapons rather than... just Titans sort of thing. Like, it's like you kind of introduce Titans in the first episode as like dumb and massive and cause tons of damage sort of thing. That's kind of what you get. Then you get hints and hints and hints, and then it kind of gets to that series, and it's fun. It sort of reveals that, oh no, the Titans are sort of weapons, and then you kind of get the narrative between Titans and like why they're being used and all that type of stuff.
I don't know if I'll get hate for this. I probably won't. The power of law in a story should neither be trifled with or overused. You have stories that have far too much lore, and it's just so hard to keep track of. One could argue that there's too much lore for a storyline like Bionicle. I would disagree. I think the lore of Bionicle is fantastic, but that could be considered an example. There's way too much happening in the background of the story, like this mask is from here. This what is this place in the world has been around for so long, blah, 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 blah. And it's cognitive overload for the audience. It's like, okay, didn't ask, but what does this cup of water mean? That cup of water's been there for 2 minutes and has been poured by none other than King Charles the First.
Yeah.
Sick. Cool. No, don't do that. King Charles II would hate you.
Yeah.
Oh, why? That was weird. But then you have lore that you want to find more about. Again, the enigma. We find out the Titans are creatures, ridiculous-sized humans, but you don't understand what they are. Series 2 comes along, and you go to Connie's village. Yeah. Poor bastard. And he's like, why there are bodies of Titans where there should be bodies of humans. Yeah. What's gone on here? And then we find out that this Titan lying in the wreckage of his house with blonde hair, he recognised, that's my mum. My mum's turned into a Titan. How is this possible? Yeah. So could anyone become a Titan? We think Eren has this power within him to become a Titan, and it's specific to people. Now we find out the game has changed and anyone could be Titans.
Yeah, I think also it's kind of weird. Like, once Eren is revealed to be a Titan, it's like, oh, it's a game changer, stuff. And then, of course, you get more into narrative, and then you finally find out, oh, everyone could be a Titan. It's less special, and kind of at this point, Eren's there going, oh, my Titan powers aren't that impressive. I need to become impressive by my own standards as well. It's an interesting sort of narrative again.
Yeah. So I'm not special.
Yeah, I'm not special, and he's not treated that way either. It's like, everyone in the scout unit is there going, oh, he's special and sort of stuff, and then all of a sudden he's not special. They're like, what are you doing? Like,
then they establish all Titans are human. Yeah. But you just so happen to be a human conscious within your Titan to control it. So it's a zombified state. Anyone can become a Titan. Yeah. So what made Eren special? Bang! For some reason, he's able to control Titans. And then everyone's like, how did you do that? And Eren's like, again, I've discovered a power within myself that I didn't know I had. And we, as the audience, also don't truly understand that revelation of how he can control Titans, I believe, until Series 4. We don't. Well, actually, no. I take that back. Series 3. We understand that Eren's dad consumed the founding Titan, so he gained the founder's abilities. Yeah. So that meant that Eren, the power of the attack Titan combined with this founding ability, so to control Titans and to also have foresight, the massive power. And we're like, oh my gosh, so Eren is really kind of the chosen one at this point in time. The founding Titan was evil, the attack Titan was trying to do a good thing, Eren's dad was a hero, you know? And the lore dropped along, and you're finding out, like, so how does a human become a Titan? Yeah. Then we find out it's spinal fluid from Titans. Okay, so to become a Titan, you need spinal fluid. But how did the first person turn into a Titan? There needed to be a starting point. Yeah. We know it's spinal fluid. You need to get injected to go Titan mode. Yeah. And you need to consume an intelligent Titan, one of the original Titan's powers, to gain control of that ability. So again, lore being dropped. And you think that's just enough for you to see you through, and then you find out there are 9 specific Titans, intelligent Titans. There can only be a maximum of 9 intelligent Titans. Yeah. And So that meant Ymir was an intelligent title. So she was, we find out she's the Jaw Titan. And then you find out there's the Founding, there's the Beast. All of this stuff dropping. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then bam, end of series 3. Oh, remember that mystery at the start of series 1 about the cellar? Boom.
Yeah.
Guess what's happening? And you're like, hey!
Yeah.
So again, long-term narrative, with the lore being dropped, the rewatch value, this long-term mystery, you almost can't, you don't forget about it, but you almost don't care. Because you got all of this content, all of this rewatch value, and then you get to this mystery, and you think, oh gosh, what's going to happen? I remember I was nervous. I'm like, am I going to be disappointed by this?
Yeah.
Is it going to be, the Titans were all in our heads, this is all imagination. Yeah. Eren is a human in a hospital bed, and his dad is just going with Titan toys over him. No. We find out his dad used to live in the home of Reiner and Berthold, and the whole game changes completely because these guys are basically in like a steampunk medieval phase. So we find out in this place that planes, that blimps, guns and weaponry, this artillery, this industrialization is real.
Yeah.
And that was ages ago. So these guys have been kept on a little part of the island.
Kind of feudal. The guys being attacked or in like a feudal sort of system, and then you kind of find out that the Malians have kind of been through a industrial age and sort of have created sort of new weapons that they're sort of undergunned already. Yeah. And
at that point, one could say that you're exhausted with this reveal. You're like, okay, so now we've established the territory of the enemy. Because you then at that point view Eren's dad as the outcast, his sister unalived. He then was just like, I need to. These guys are assholes. I need to defeat them. Let's start a rebellion. He's ratted out by his own son Zeke, who's the Beast Titan, and you're like, oh Zeke, what little bastard! That little arsehole Zeke, and then he gains the power of the Attack Titan, and the Attack Titan at the time puts his hand on his shoulder and just goes, I'm doing this for Armin and Mikasa. And I'm like, fucking what?
Yeah.
Armin and Mikasa aren't even born yet, fam!
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And then, boom, the series, like, a couple more episodes, the series comes to an end, and you're like, what is going on?
Yeah. Well, sort of at that sort of serious point, the timeline gets completely 180. It's like, oh.
I don't know if you want to start by giving your thoughts on that, because I'm about to splay the shit out of this. Series 4 is groundbreakingly good. So good.
I think it's sort of like it's a whiplash, but it's done in such a clever way. Like, because like you're supporting Eren through most of the series.
Yeah.
Until his final reveal, and you're kind of sitting in Armin and Mikasa's shoes at this point, and both of them double take it, and it's like, play that again? You being serious? And then Eren just blank face, yes. And I'm like, oh shit.
I honestly remember our reactions as well. But the reveals that happened in that series made us genuinely pause the episode, sit down, and just go,
who have we been supporting? What's going on? I don't understand.
Have we been the bad guys all along? Have we been fighting the wrong side?
Yeah.
Have we been the monsters? Like, this is mad. Absolutely mad. We got what we wanted, but at what cost?
Yeah.
Literally the destruction of humanity.
Hands with that, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I said a spoiler warning at the start of the video, so it's your own fault if you're still watching. So I'll go back to the theme about narrative. When you've still got the story going on for so long, so many mysteries have been solved, and this new direction has been given with the mystery, what now? What now for our characters? Eren saw something within Historia as well with his founding power. He had a devastating reaction when he held her hand. He just looked absolutely horrified. And then the series ends with him pointing over the sea and says, "That's where we're going next. Those are our enemies. My father was outcast by them. They're our souls. That's where we're going to find Zeke. That's where we're going to find Reiner. We're gonna bring the pain." And we're just like, cool. So I'm not saying every narrative needs to do this. I'm not saying every narrative needs to be Attack on Titan, because copying Attack on Titan would very much, for copying stories, would get you like copyright, you know. But here's why this is so effective. Because, again, the rewatch, seeing different paths and different versions of the same story, the same, with all of these codes, all of the lore being dropped. What does Attack on Titan do next to give the intrigue even more? Is it questions what you know. Yeah. Instead of the hermeneutics of the enigma, what's going on, it takes all of the praeretics, man's done his research for this, it takes what you know. Eren is a good guy, Titans are like, you can gain powers of Titans, and we're fighting the bad guys in Mali, and it goes woof, and it flips it. It tests what you know. You start in the shoes and the perspective of Reiner, the enemy, and Zeke, the enemy, in their livelihood, and they're fighting a war.
But even Mali by itself has got issues. Like Mali, is in a two-tier society between two different generations of people. Yeah.
And it starts to reveal itself as less the whole time. This war against monstrosity, the origin of it was human conflict, war. And the Titans were casualties of it. They were literally casualties of war that were used and utilized. You see that the cart Titan is armored up, has got artillery cannons on the back of it, and then they come back to this city as heroes, and everyone's applauding. The city looks healthy. We're aware that there are bastards in the city, but generally they're just like, oh, well, we're here and we're happy. And then rumors go around of like the terrorist and demon king Eren Yeager. Oh, the Attack Titan could be coming soon, and we're thinking, but Eren, the good guy? Eren's good man. He's nice. So we're thinking like, oh, okay, cool. So we're seeing like, we're kind of rooting for Eren here. But then the story continues, and you get used to the perspective of Reiner. You find out why he is. He always wanted to make his mother proud. He always wanted to make his friends proud. And he just went absolutely mad with grief and conflict and war. And you find out he only ever wanted to do the right thing and save his home. So at that moment, you're like, so I see what the story's trying to do. It's given us a motivation. Reiner's still a bad guy because he's still killed, loads of people, and he took Eren's home. Okay, he's just trying to protect his people. And then Eren comes along. And you're like, hey, Eren, hey.
What?
Eren, cuz you're right, bang. Oh, Eren, you're killing a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Eren, chill out, bro. Eren, chill the F out.
Well, you kind of get that moral juxtaposition between two different positions. They go, how the hell would you deal with that? Like, you can kind of, you then begin to see sort of, you kind of begin to see both sides. Not really on one side, but you kind of see both sides. So you'll kind of watch it, and now you're sort of torn between who do I root for now?
What is Eren's motivation here? Because he got what he wanted. He absolutely destroyed Mali.
He he got.
Well, in that moment, he didn't. He only destroyed a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, he got what he wanted, and he could have stopped.
Mm.
And it's when he doesn't stop, they're going, "Oh, hang on. Oh, we're going further beyond what we thought we were going to do.
Mm.
Oh, okay, maybe Reiner might be right."
So, yeah, Eren and Reiner are perfect examples of good versus evil. Flip the switch, and you can very much see it from the other side. Good, or evil versus good, or what you thought was evil turns good. And we're not exactly, as the audience, nothing really changes at this point in time, because we're thinking, okay, Eren is still the hero. He's just the villain in their story, you know? So that makes sense. And then Mikasa, Armin, Jean, Connie, and Sasha come along. They equally take out a lot of people. Levi does. And then they go home. They achieve what they wanted. Like, they destroyed a part of Marley. But then you find out Mikasa and Armin are like, Eren, I thought we discussed that we weren't going to do this. We weren't going to attack Marley, because now they're going to come and attack us. We were going to leave it alone. And what's been going on? And you realise, obviously, there's been a time gap. So there's a new mystery. What's happened in that time gap? What's changed with Eren?
Yeah.
Has his motivations changed? What's going on with these other mysteries in the background that are no longer being spoken about again? Do the characters know?
Yeah.
It just gave me serious whiplash. And then the story continued and continued and continued. You're led down this false narrative again that Mikasa was programmed to defend Eren, that her love for Eren, that her love for Eren was false, and it was literally artificially woven genetics years ago. And Eren's just like, yo, you don't love me. You're just nothing.
That was
brutal.
brutal.
I dislike Mikasa as a character, despite the fact that she's, to many people, their favourite character in Attack on Titan. I don't like her that much. Doesn't mean I hate her, but I just found her quite irritating, because her decision at the end of series 4 quite literally is what pushes Eren over the edge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you remember when Eren was having so much fun in Marley, and he goes, he's got, at this point in time, he can see the future and he can see the past. And he's like, I've got two possibilities here. I see a life with Mikasa, and then I see a life without her. He's like, do you love me, Mikasa? And she's like, huh? He goes, what are we? Because it's clear there's something. And she goes, I always view you as family. I've loved you like a brother. And then he goes, and then instantly he can see from that moment every single singularity and possibility. He goes, cool, okay. I'm going to commit genocide.
Yeah.
Man got friend zoned so hard, he said, say less, I'm going to destroy the entire world.
Yeah.
That was deadly friend zoning. Can you imagine if she said, yes, Eren, I know I was adopted into your family, but we aren't blood related. I love the shit out of you. I fancy your ass, mate. And it could have gone differently. Things could have gone differently. Yeah. It really could have. And then he saw the future that he deemed necessary for his friends, and he decided to.
Well, see, it's even weird. Like once that Eren's made his decision, this is where Mikasa sort of begins to fall in my eyes, where he's made his decision, and Mikasa, because she's so fixated, she can't make her own decision. She has to follow Eren.
But that's why he says,
completely,
you're a robot.
Yeah,
basically, you've been following me, Mikasa, and that was his way of saying, just like, Mikasa, for goodness sake, be your own woman.
Yeah.
Because,
you're
right.
It takes a while.
Oh, it does.
It takes a while for her to kind of finally go, Oh yeah, I can think for myself now.
The scarf.
Yeah.
The subtlety of the scarf that Eren put around her when they found her whole family was unalived. And Eren comes along and goes, "Don't worry, I'll always be there to protect you now."
Yeah.
Puts a scarf around her and she's like, a boyfriend. But every time that she wears her scarf, she has Eren in mind.
Yeah.
Her motivations are to either save him, to look after him, to do anything that pushes Eren's motivations forward. Which is why the final scene in the Attack on Titan finale, when she puts her scarf on, like at that moment in time, for the final time, she's like, "Okay, Eren, I'm following your plan here. You want me to take your life." And then her final perfect words, perfect way to end the story altogether was, "Thank you for always putting your scarf around me." She was sat underneath the tree and she's wearing the scarf, but at this point in time, she was wearing a scarf not for Eren's motivations, but for her own. Basically, I now see it was, you always were looking after me all along. Like, I wasn't doing this for you. You've always been doing this for me from the very beginning. So we'll cut back in time a little bit. Because we were discussing basically how the story ended, because then our minds are blown even more. We find out that Eren truly was the villain and has been the villain from the start, because Krishna, his dad, was manipulated to believing that taking the founder's power was the right thing to do, to regain control of Marley, to gain that power back. We find out he stops himself. He stops himself from doing it. He's like, "I can't do it." Very much like what Armin and Mikasa did. They're like, Marley is literally just another life. They've moved on. We're here, they're there. Let's leave them alone. And Krishna was the same. When he had this ultimate motivation to fight back against Marley and to destroy the demons of Ymir, he's like, "Can't do it. I can't do it. I can't take a life. I can't unalive this family." And Eren, with the power he gains in the future, goes back in time into the past and just shit talks his dad. He goes, "You're weak. Get back up. I wouldn't be here if you didn't get the power. Believe me, the lives that the Titans are going to take will be your fault, Dad." And I'm just like, yo, Eren, chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Eren was, and then he turns to Eren's dad, Krishna, turns to Zeke, goes, "You've got to stop Eren. I've seen the future. Now that I've consumed the Founder's power, I can also see what Eren is planning to do. You have to stop him. For the love of God, stop my son."
Yeah.
And we're like, what has been Eren's motivation? Like, but Reiner's still a bad guy. Yeah. Reiner's still trying to destroy the people, but Reiner's trying to stop Eren now. And then Eren gets what he wants. Eren destroys the walls that were Titans. Again, another lore drop. And Armin and Mikasa are like, yeah, Eren's been... he's great. Eren is going to take all of the Titans to Marley and destroy Marley. This has been our plan from series 1. Yeah. And Eren goes, boom. Ayo, I'm not going to just destroy Marley. I'm going to literally destroy every human outside of our country. Yeah. Every single human. I'm going to wipe out 100% of humanity, so we're the only ones left. Yep. What? A long-term narrative, and how are we rewarded? We are kicked in the fucking teeth. Our hero, our case study of what we thought was going to happen, and what we thought we knew, Eren is the hero, is shattered. That was an enigma all along. Eren was always walking towards this path. Yeah. the rumbling. He was always going to do this. There was no way that would... And even Eren tried to break fate with Mikasa. He literally said, this is it. I need to see this. I need to know that fate and this unbreakable story can be broken. Mikasa, tell me that you love me and the future can be changed. Mikasa says exactly what Eren expects her to say, your family. I love you like a brother. Basically, I love you like family. And Eren's like, well, guess I've got to do rumbling.
Pretty much,
yeah. It's just crazy. It's so crazy because then not only that, we discover the origins of the Titans.
Yeah.
That there's this ancient alien beneath the surface of the earth, which is representative. I wouldn't even say it's an alien. It's this really primordial, original life form.
Yeah.
Which parodies like one of the first life forms on planet Earth as well, and the pair of them combining created a Titan. And we find out that the fact that there's been more Titans is because when the original Titan Ymir died, the king didn't view that as a noble sacrifice. He's just like, well, this won't simply do. Looked to her 3 children and says, eat the corpse of your mother and get her abilities.
Yeah.
So not only did we find out that the original Titan wasn't a monster but a protector, that the true monster all along has been a fucking human.
Yeah. Yeah. On both sides.
Yeah.
On both sides. I was like, yeah.
This whole thing started because of war and because of a fucking bastard human leader just permanently... I've got no words.
I mean, I think bastard's pretty harsh because he doesn't have force or anything like that. From the human perspective, it's sort of like he sees Ymir's... I mean, what he did to Ymir is bad, but from his motivational side of view, like, he needs it for security. That's the way he sees it. And then it just snowballs.
But it's flipped. We can see it from the perspective of Eren. Eren is looking at this and just like, yo, she just like me for real. And they just like me for real. She was thrown into this without consent.
Yeah.
My dad has been puppeteering me to this position. Yeah. My dad, Grishna, who I looked up to as a hero, I realised that I've just been his bitch.
Yeah.
I've been my dad's bitch the whole time. And I sensed that. The people that I thought I wanted to destroy, the Titans, they weren't necessarily the villain. They're evil.
Yeah.
They have motivations against us. But the people that I thought I could trust, I can't even trust them. And Eren crashes out. He's just like, for goodness sake, if I can't trust anyone, I'll just destroy everyone. The only people he trusts are his friends. Mikasa, Armin, Connie, Jean. He trusts them. There's that scene, that very, very powerful scene in the cart where he's just sat down and everyone's just like, I've always wanted to be this. I want to do that. I just love this. And Eren's just like, he's crying. Like, why are you crying, Eren? He's just like, I love all of you guys and I'll do anything to protect you so much. And we're like, oh, Eren's such a nice guy. And then later in the series, we're like, oh.
Anything, literally.
So that was basically Eren saying who he's going to spare. Eren's just like, I'm going to spare you. Genocide? You guys are fine.
Yeah.
Cheers, Eren, thanks. I'll just... if I was in that, I'd just run into the car. Run and just swan dive into the car like, me too, right, Eren? But going back to what you said about King Fritz as well, because I kind of want to unpack that a little bit more now. Because he is perceived as a villain. He is. He is seen as this dictator who enslaves his people. And he does that for the welfare of his kingdom, which, if you look back on our own history as well, there's been a lot of kings like it as well. There's been a lot of dictators like that as well. And Ymir is an example of this slave that is not only backstabbed by her king, but backstabbed by her people, so that they don't suffer as well. So she takes the brunt of the suffering. And when she gets boosted with this power, the king views that as just like, oh, brilliant, I can use you.
Yeah.
So when she unfortunately unalives, then he, in a very an act of monstrosity, just says, you've got to eat your mother to gain her power. You can look at that in two ways. You can look at that as like, you're an evil man. I can't believe that you're forcing these children, your own children, to eat their mother. And then again, you can flip the switch. He's been outcast by this other country.
Yeah.
King Fritz has been outcast from this, and that he's always going to remain, always be under attack, always be in this place, you know. And then over time, the descendants of the king use this power to create the walls. The Titans harden and create the walls.
Yeah.
And they defend them. Again, the descendants of the king and this council, this cult of the walls, try to keep this secret. They are seen as villains in series 3. They are, because they deceive the whole kingdom. The whole kingdom forgets. They use the power of the Titans to make everyone forget the true power of the Titans. Everyone knew that the walls were Titans. Then they go, founding Titan.
Yeah.
Everyone forgets. And then, obviously, everyone remembers. And in series 3, they're just like, rah, 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 King Fritz descendants, you're assholes, you know? I mean, I don't know. I still am gonna call him a bastard for purely for the fact that he forced his own children to eat their mother.
No. It kind of comes down to that thing. I think back in episode 2 or 3 maybe of this, where like there's only so much trauma which you can kind of get away with before you're considered wrong. Like at one point you're then considered evil, sort of thing. Like you can only, even going through certain amounts of trauma, you do become evil. Like there's no negotiation that you do become evil, and you have to be dealt with.
But that's just it, and that is, like you said, that's a perfect way to capture Eren. We view him as a hero. Of course he's gone through lots of trauma. His dad is dead. He realised that he ultimately he ate his own father. His mother is unalive. This father figure that he had as well, of the guard, the scout, can't remember his name, trying to protect him and Mikasa, also died in series 2 as well.
Yeah.
Who else? Reiner, a good friend of his, and Berthold, they betray him, they backstab him as well. He finds out that this whole time that history has been against him and his dad has been manipulating him as well. Armin almost dies. Irvin does die as well. This man is tested to his limits.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, so sometimes a crash out is valid.
Yeah, I think maybe a better phrase is like you can empathise with a villain, I guess, but you've got to recognise that he's a villain or in the role, sort of thing. Yeah.
But yeah, again, you're like, if you look back at series 3, if you rewatch the whole thing and think the whole time, I'm going to be in the pilot seat of Reiner, and view Eren as the villain here. Sometimes I find that quite hard to do. Because in series 1, he's a child that has lost the life of his mother. And in that, you see the fury of Eren always marching forward, just like, I'm going to destroy all of the Titans.
Yeah.
And you're like, valid.
Yeah.
Valid. But then the beauty of the scene where he's on the edge of the ocean, approaching Marley, and he's got an army of Titans. And the whole cycle of history is repeated. The whole thing of he has turned himself into what Marley perceives him as.
Yeah.
On purpose to basically go like, look at me, I'm the villain, guys. I am the villain.
Yeah.
And he's marching forward and forward and forward. And then in his eyes, as he's about to trample all of Marley and completely destroy it, he flashes back to the moment that his mother was taken from him. And the same words he said in episode 2, episode 1 is like, I'll trample all of them. Like, I won't stop marching forward until I reach my goal. All Titans will die. Oh my God. What a way to finish series 4 when he's just like... I recently spoke to someone who thought that was the end of the story.
Yeah, no, I think we were watching it. That seems like a good ending, and then it's like, oh no, there's more.
Yeah, we genuinely thought, just like, if this is the ending of Attack on Titan, then I would not be mad. If ultimately you're left to your devices, just like, yeah, so basically Eren does destroy all of humanity, and that's that.
Yeah.
Which is the extent, the fan ending, Attack on Titan Requiem. We watched that, didn't we? Basically is the alternative ending where Eren does manage to go through all of his plans. They can't stop him. He's done it. Realistically, that would work from a narrative perspective. But ultimately, controversial, I like the ending we got.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah,
everyone is now seen as heroes. Reiner, Mikasa, like Marley and Ymir united. They're seen as heroes. That's what Eren wanted. But does it stop there? No, it doesn't. The cycle repeats. Again, Historia, in that moment, armors Ymir up. Just like, still, like, that Ymir and Marley still don't trust one another.
Yeah.
The peace that Eren sought for, ultimately, in years to come, will just keep repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. And just don't stop.
No.
It's like, so that ending that we got, basically saying, like, this whole story that you watched, there's a long-term narrative with ultimately this ending, even this ending here that you've got with all of the lore solved, all of the mysteries solved, absolutely everything, is still not the ending.
Yeah.
Can still leave it up to you to figure out what happens next.
Yeah.
This is why I said, when the Marvel agenda, watch the Marvel agenda episodes now. That an ending is so important, to have everything come to a close, to have this perfect circle, of just start to finish. It makes you appreciate a narrative more, because you can see it in all of its glory, and you can splay it apart, and you can see the lore, and you can see it's. I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit, but Attack on Titan is such a perfect example, because it's not afraid to end. It's not afraid to be controversial. It's not afraid to take characters that you know and love and turn them into villains. It's plot armor was kind of a thing. Reiner's plot armor was out of this world. The amount of times that man almost unalived, in series 2, in series 3, in series 4. Do you remember he gets ripped in half, and he just happens to survive?
Yeah.
The Warhammer Colossal.
Yeah.
Eats him, rips him in half, and then Reiner just manages to eject himself in time and goes, "Boy, howdy, that was a close one." I'm like, Reiner, fam, how did you survive that?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah, it's still not afraid to analyse characters as well, which is it's like, even the ones that you've grown to like, like, oh boy, you're going there. It's like, okay. Yeah, no.
It's genius. I think it's genius. And Eren and Reiner, for me, in this episode specifically, have been my favourite part to break that down. Will we get another narrative like Attack on Titan, per se? And would I recommend other authors or other screenwriters to use this as a basis for their own story? Not necessarily. Because Attack on Titan only worked as its own narrative because of the context given. It's the theme of humanity being monsters, manifested in physical representations of towering monsters.
Yeah.
This like, in a world of monsters, which it hints to the next episode. In a world of monsters, who really are the monsters? The monsters, or the people that made the monsters? And you're left to question that. So would something like that work again? Oh, for sure it would work. If you have a narrative where the audience are left to question everything and are left for mystery and rewatching things change as well. That kind of thing is hard to write. I appreciate it. It takes absolutely years and years and years of content to really think, how is this going to work? And I commend the author massively for probably sitting down and going like,
yeah.
There are probably versions of the story where Reiner was never the armored titan, versions of the story where Eren was never the ultimate villain. Maybe he woke up and just like, what if I made a story where the hero is the villain all along? Yeah. Maybe if that's where it started, I don't know, you know. But I've had people before that I've interacted with that have pitched me story ideas and said things, as I too am a story writer, that vibe quite closely to Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
And
it kind of comes down to, I think creativity will come down to sort of this Ed Sheeran thing going on right now. Like, there's only so much. There's only so many story foundations which you can use or tweak on sort of stuff to have a good story sort of thing. So
yeah, I get that.
But you can always tweak and change and sort of set it up in a different world, maybe a different narrative. But yeah,
I've said this in MATT1. Let's stop with the
shameful plus.
Yeah. It's a thing that authors do and learn, and people that learn do. Magpieing. You quite literally take a piece of information or something that you like, you put it and you use it to be the foundations of your own next.
Even subconsciously,
but that's just it.
Bring something in, and there's
But if the magpie tries to completely copy the other nest altogether, the groundwork that you're on isn't going to work. People are going to notice that nest is completely the same. There's nothing original about it, and you might struggle to create it. So take that as a single piece, and put it into your own story.
Oh yeah,
you know, long narrative is sometimes shat on. Because I get it. People, the audience get bored. They do. Like, if the story keeps going and going and going and going and going, and you're not feeding the audience anything, or none of the characters are changing, or the character goes through the same story arc as they did before, or, I don't know, there is a plot twist, and a hero that you thought was a hero was a villain all along, but it doesn't make you re-question everything, their motivations before. Well, like, take Naruto, for example. I'm not saying Naruto's a bad thing. You've got...
I'm not watching everything.
Oh, have you? Nice. It's good. You've got characters where their motivations turn them evil. And that's different. Like, a hero turning into a villain is different. But you got the hero with the facade he is a hero, or she is a hero, drops, and you're like, all along you're a villain.
Yeah.
You know, that's different. But story writers really, really do struggle. And an example, I think, that I'm aware of is many people question the length of the story of The Wheel of Time as well. I think that goes on for like 14, 15, 16 books, correct me if I'm wrong. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. People say it's worth it. I don't doubt it is. But if you're like me and you see the length of a story, you just look at it and you go,
I
really can't be bothered.
I think it comes down to the same sort of Marvel episode again, where like you do need an end point. You can't just milk it for what it's worth, sort of thing. Like, you do need this is my end to my story. Whether people like it or not isn't up to them. It's like, this is my end point. This is how I'm going to finish it, sort of thing.
Well, that's definitely me as a story writer. My mentality as well. There will be a point in the stories that I tell, on screen and off screen, wink, that will have endings. There will be definitive endings, and it will be like, that's it.
Or
the book is closed. Let's carry on. You know?
Yeah, like like kind of what Attack on Titan did, where like they end it, but they kind of have enough world that you can kind of live in it in your own imagination, sort of thing. It's kind of,
Well, that's just it, and I wouldn't say that's the whole point, but going back to it, where we're aware of the paths. So obviously the spirit of Emir lives on within the power of the founder, and within this like almost neurological perspective, because it is the power of the mind. I love it. It looks like this tree also it looks like a neural network for a brain, but also looks like a tree. It also looks like loads of branches going off. So the paths represent these timelines, these different possibilities. And it's such a commentary on the audience, going back to what I said, like we've perceived all of these different ideas about what the story could be and who they are, that what we're thinking, literally thinking, is on the screen right there. It's there. It's fantastic. I think it's just it respects the audience.
Yeah.
You know? And that's a testament to a good author and and like someone that wants someone to enjoy a story. Like, we respect what you want. It's not necessarily fan service where we will give you what you want in the exact way that you want it. It's, I will give you what you want, and hopefully it will be worth the wait. The payoff will be really good. Your patience is rewarded with this. Your patience is rewarded with this. Because if you string the audience on too long and you then give them the resolution that you'd always planned and they don't like it, it can be seen as a bit disrespectful to your audience. Take Doctor Who again. You know, I wouldn't say the writer was intending on disrespecting people. I don't think that was his intentions. His intentions was to try something new. Like, this is big mystery, and the answer is simple. Sometimes there isn't a big mystery, it's just a simple answer. But if you really tease the audience to the extent, like all of this mystery, this cosmic eldritch universe is going to be in this complete singularity, we're going to find out why she is the way she is, and the answer is just like nothing, like, kind of makes the whole narrative that we've got until here pointless. You know? I don't know if you've got any more thoughts on that.
No.
And another thing, I think, briefly, before I conclude, there is another story that I've literally just remembered, which is also a good example of this. Alice in Borderlands. Have you watched that?
No.
Bloody watch it. It's good. You start it, and again, you think a story is going to head a certain way, and there is a certain episode where theories of what fans thought the story was, like, this was a simulation, or you never left the hospital bed, this is all playing off in your head, or we were aliens all along. There was literally a scene in the episode where they were doing that, and then the character was just like, the scene stops, just kidding, and carries on with the drink. But it's to the audience and the characters as well, because the character was deliberately manipulating and teasing the heroes. They're like, tell us what's really happening. Okay, I'll tell you, this is a simulation. Haha, got ya. Are you really going to tell us? Yeah. You never left the hospital bed. Haha, got ya. Yeah, so it's a commentary on the type of character, but it's like, the audience go, oh, we were right all along, and oh no, we weren't right. Oh, nice. Yeah, and that's another example as well. Yeah. So, I mean, you can tell how passionate I was about this and how much I wanted to get across why I like the Attack on Titan story so much. There's probably more to be said about that, but I think we'll leave it until the next episode. Because we started to tap on it a bit, like monsters, humans and monsters. So we will get into other characters like Irvin, Levi and Mikasa in the next episode as well. Maybe even Armin a bit.
I
think that, because I know you really, Armin's one of your favourite characters, isn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, sort of his change is sort of like, ooh, okay, that's interesting. Even like going through the story even further, like, there's a couple of different changes.
It's more subtle than people realise it as well. Like, despite the fact he became a Titan shifter, he did use his ability, but he only used his ability twice. And it's not like he enjoyed using it.
No.
So where everyone was just like, we will become someone else. Armin is like, I will become this person, but I don't want to be this person because I'm not that person. Basically, kind of a lesser version of what Eren was. Why the two of them clashing in the finale was brilliant. Like, Armin versus Eren. Like, I know who I am, but I don't want to be it. And Eren's like, I know who I am, and I hate it, but I have to be it. You know, like, Anyways, we'll stop there.
Yeah.
That's a good length of time for this podcast. I'm sorry if this was very Matthew heavy, guys. I'm very passionate about Attack on Titan.
Own it.
I will.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next week for episode 12.
Yeah.
Again, we've
still losing track.
I'm
still losing track.
Well, I told you what episode 12 is going to be about. So if you're interested in that, we'll see you there. And if not, please watch it anyway. Because it will be funny.
Subscribe.
Subscribe! Shameless plug, subscribe!
Yeah.
Otherwise, Matthew will enact the rumbling. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Like, you subscribe or you don't subscribe. If you don't subscribe, well, I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Nice.
Bye!
See you soon.
See you soon.